permeates every single aspect of this institution. It's the Latino educational model is actually, it's like the big umbrella. And then underneath we have the pillars, and everything that we do actually is connected directly to the Latino educational model. So sometimes, somebody asks, I got a question, somebody asked me about finance, and I say, yes, actually, financial aid is part of the Latino educational model. And then because, when we talk about the pillars, we have a pillar of high touch and high support. So which means that each of those pillars are related to the work we do, to the attention that the students and the service that the student received, and the interconnections that we all have in the institution. Unquestionably, we know that 2020 will be remembered as a year like no other year in the history. But I think COVID did some remarkably bad and good. And when we think about the things that were good, so we're talking about the transformation of the institutions. It was not only this institution that needed to transform, but many institutions across the nation needed to transform, actually, to redimension the things that they do, the innovation that they needed to bring, because the COVID really forced us to take a different lens of the ways that we were doing things and the way that we were going to do things from now on. I do remember one of the good things, and I think Catherine is here. Catherine wrote for this institution the distance learning standards, and we have those standards since last year, since July, and she even defined, the asynchronous and synchronous and the face-to-face modalities, or for this model. So it's this is something that we really need to talk about later, because you will see that this distance learning has been impacting the way that we've been delivering the Latino educational model. But this afternoon I'm joining Jennifer with this practical application, because as we said, everything that we're doing right now really is interconnected, related to the Latino educational model. I think the faculty have asked academic affairs, their dean, about the use of peer deck. And one of the things that we decided to do, Jennifer leading this effort, is using the peer deck in this afternoon for some of the practical exercise that we're going to be going through. So, but we're going to start this afternoon with something that is called the Jump board, and so it's a fun, and I'm pretty sure that many of you use that already. And what we would like to know is about the Latino educational model pillars. So we're going to do that exercise, and we will all be involved in creating this Jump board.
Yes. So what we're going to do, there is a website here that, let's see, I'm going to copy this website. I'm going to put it into the chat. All right, everyone, please go to the Jamboard, click it, and you will see a question there. When you click on it, you should pull up the screen that you're seeing right now. So we just want to get some background information. And for this, there is no right or wrong answer. We just want to kind of get some input about the question based on what you have heard. How do you define high touch, high support, and high tech? In your own words, what do you think this means? And the way that we're going to do that, if you look over at the left-hand side, there is an icon here that looks like a little sticky note. We're going to click on that, and you're going to enter your answers in this little yellow area. So for example, I'm going to write using technology like hair deck in the, oops. Okay, and you'll see that it will create a little sticky note like this, and then I can move it all around the screen. And this one is related to technology, so I'm going to go ahead and put it under high tech.
All right. One thing that is important for them to know is that, you know, we will not be able to know who you are, you know, when you're writing. So
Exactly. Completely anonymous. So even if your answer is off base, it's absolutely fine. Go ahead and give us your honest answers. Feel free to go ahead and add them up on the board. Thank you. Intrusive advising model. Awesome. If we could get everyone to write at least one, that would be great.
And then you can go down, you know, just show the where the sticky note is, Jennifer.
Yes. Again, it is,
okay.
Let me maximize my screen here. Again, it is on the left-hand side.
Yeah, somebody's asking, okay, there is the sticky note, just clicking there.
To the left-hand side, there's a panel, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 down, the fourth icon on the left, it says sticky note. Click on it, and you'll be prompted to enter your answer. This is good. This is, you know, a really fun activity you can do in your classes for those of you who are faculty, also at the beginning of a lesson to activate background knowledge. There's no codes to get into it, so it's very user-friendly. Great. You can, yeah, you can move around those sticky notes. Ooh, yeah, that's a good one. Okay, these are wonderful. So let's, there we go. We have more. That's good. These are great answers. So if any of you are interested in using this particular tool, I'm going to enter it in the chat as well. Jamboard. It's part of your Google suite, and it's already in your Google Drive. So if you have a Gmail account, all you need to do is open up your Drive and look for Jamboard. It's already there. Okay, so let's start looking at some of these. I'm just going to move. I'm not sure where this one is supposed to go. But okay, so how do you define high touch? Let's see, dealing with a human being instead of a computer screen. Right, exactly, high touch. One-on-one communication. Yep. Another one is appealing and interesting, making connections with people, being able to have effective teaching and engagement skills through the LMS. Exactly. We just got another one here on top. The way you approach the individual and the way that you engage them. Yep, that's absolutely high touch. So high support, the intrusive advising model. And by intrusive, of course, we just mean very, very many opportunities for communication, lots of follow-up. That's the intrusive advising model. Help once you need it. Absolutely. You let us know when we find a way to support you. Advising, tutoring, mentoring. Yes. tech support when needed. That's high support, and I would say that can also be high tech, right? Good IT services, help desk, things like that. Ready anytime. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but yes, being ready to support your students whenever they need it. If that's what was meant, then absolutely, we need to be ready at any time to help students. The high tech. All right, that was my sample. Using the latest technology, absolutely. It's imperative to high tech times, absolutely. So gone are the days where we can walk into a classroom and just talk at them for 3 hours and walk out, right? We have to be high tech. Utilizing technology tools in a classroom without interference. Yes, integrated enterprise-wide student success platform, absolutely. So there are a lot of different softwares and different platforms available where we can monitor our student success, use it as a platform for advising, for, early alert type things, analytics. All of those are very important, and the most advanced technology available. Yes, good. All of these.
Yeah, one of the things that was really unique in here was, when you said the tech support when needed. That is a good example of that that every pillars they are interchangeable. You may have one action that you take that could be into high support, and also, there are some things that we do in the classroom that they could be part of the high tech, but at the same time, if we provide the additional support, then that will be, the same action that we take, will be high support.
Exactly. There's a lot of overlap in these areas.
Overlapping, right.
Exactly. Okay, so it seems like we already know something about the Latino Education Model pillars. Let's continue. So this is a document that was produced. Anna worked very hard with some others on creating a document that defines all of this, and we're going to disseminate that as soon as the presentation is over. But when we're looking at the 3 different pillars, 3 different definitions, and this is just taken directly from that document. So I, myself, at first struggled with what is the differentiation between high touch and high support, because to me they are very, very interrelated. And so we can see by these definitions that high touch really has to do with a culturally affirming atmosphere where both Latinos can see themselves clearly represented among faculty and students and are embedded within a collegiate climate that promotes and embraces Latino culture. So the touch is really about culturally affirming atmosphere, making sure our students are comfortable and that they feel represented when they're here on campus. High tech, I think, is probably the most explanatory. Anything that has to do with technology support or the technology that's available to both ourselves and our students. And high support, so this is more to do with services. So what services are we offering to our students to help them achieve, to their fullest potential? So those are the 3 pillars. Does anyone have any questions about how we're defining these? And as we mentioned, there is some overlap. There's very easily something that could be high tech and high support, for example. So they're not mutually exclusive. All right, we'll continue on. All right, we have a fun little game for you. Look on your computer screen, and you should see at the bottom, there's a little dot, right? A little red dot, and it says that you can drag it. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to say a pillar, and then if you would drag that little dot icon over the activity or term that matches the particular pillar. Okay, so we have a bunch of different items on the screen here. We have the SAC 101 course, library and tutoring, creation of new certificate programs, all of these different initiatives or processes. And all of them support one pillar or another, sometimes more than one pillar. So if you would, let's start with an easy one, high tech. If you could drag an icon onto the term that supports the high tech model. Go ahead and take your dot and move it. I see that 2 out of 8 people have done so. Go ahead and put that red dot over anything that has to do with high tech. And I see, thank you, Noe, for your correction that CIS has become, CIS 101 has now become CIS 107. Thank you. Sometimes things change so fast. It's hard to keep a current PowerPoint or a current Pear Deck. Anyone else want to participate? We only have 2 out of 8 that have responded. Go ahead, drag your icon. Is anyone else having problems? We say, I see that Danae says, I cannot drag my icon. So at the bottom, there's a dot. Click on it. And then drag it like you would in Microsoft Word. It won't move. Uh-oh. Oops. It won't move. Anyone else? I'm not sure why it seems to be working on some and not working for others. Let's see. Let me show responses and see what happens here. Okay. Canvas training. Yes, we can. I couldn't get a sticky note either. Uh-oh. Okay. So I'm not sure exactly why some were able to access sticky notes and why others are not. Are you, for those of you who weren't able to do it, let me know what kind of device you're using, because we want to make sure that all students can access it. Okay, so the pillars that, yes, 2 people responded and both said Canvas training, obviously. Yes, very good. Okay, so now I'm going to hide the responses. Let's do high touch. Take your icon and let's see if you can drag onto something that represents high touch. If your dots aren't dragging, let's just go ahead and enter them in the chat. We always have to have a plan B when we're working with temperamental technology. So if you identify something here that falls under the umbrella of high touch, go ahead and enter it into the chat. There we go. Good. Okay, so library and tutoring. Yes, absolutely. That is high touch. Let's see. Are we high touch or high support? What do you think? In the document, we defined library and tutoring as high support because it's a service that is offered, but it also is high touch because it creates a positive environment for learning and helps students to feel more welcome. So absolutely, I think that's something that can go either way. Let's see what else we have here. Faculty student mentorship, high touch, absolutely. So when Faculty take the time to connect with their students. That is high touch. Gladys, library and tutoring service, yes. Bilingual environment, absolutely high touch because it's creating a very positive,
bilingual environment. Right.
Yeah, a very positive, culturally affirming environment. Learning facilitators, yeah, that could be, I mean, I think that could be either as well, really high touch and high support, learning facilitators. Class recordings.
That is a high tech. We
Yeah.
don't have that in terms of technology.
Yeah.
Now, you know, we're having that type of technology.
Yeah.
But if we think about the high, well, so we haven't really created the whole technological environment, because we have to remember that high touch really has to do with the organizational culture and climate of the institution.
Mm-hmm.
And we're thinking about, you know, the culturally responsive institution that we are, and that's the way that the definitions of the high touch came according to research. So bilingual environment is one of the best you know, responses that we have, even though I would agree with Jennifer that, you know, there are many of these that may overlap. When we see something like the word services, that's part of the support system of the institution. But if I have something that I have never used, which is the digital books, that has to do with the high tech that I'm providing now. You see, so there are some things that you will see that in the document, because it was, you know, by definitions, we use some of the research-based definitions, and then we classify every service that we produce here, and every action that we take, and every strategy that we use, you know, to create the implementation of the model.
Exactly. So if we're going through these, I would say SAC 101, probably high support, because it's an assistance measure.
Right.
I mean, it's also creates a positive environment, so that could go either way. Student organizations, I would probably say high touch. Tutoring services, high support. Financial aid would be support. Bilingual would be high touch. New certificates would be your high support. CS training would be high support. Learning facilitators, high support, but also high touch. Canvas is the model, I would say, is high support.
High support.
Digital books, tech, faculty student mentorship would be high touch. Canvas would be high tech. Admissions is high support. And then lastly, recordings, high tech, but I don't know, probably also high support, because it's offering students a service. So
right, and
go ahead.
Campus training is another one. The campus as a piece of technology is high tech, but the training that the institution is providing, then that will be high support.
Wonderful. Okay, so I think that kind of gives us a better idea of the pillars. We're going to go on here. We're going to do the same thing with the foundations. Now, we all know that our foundations, there are 3 of them. They're innovation, excellence, and knowledge. So I'm going to go in again. I put the link into the chat. Feel free to click on it. And then up again will pop a question. And then let's hear again your thoughts about what are the foundations. Without having read the document, without having any preconceived ideas, what does it mean to you? And then again, we're going to go to the left, go to the 4th icon down, sticky note. Go ahead and write your personal definition of one of these 3 foundations, and then go ahead and post them up on the board. I see a raised hand here. Gladys, yes, you have your hand raised? Go ahead and let's put our, there we go. Okay.
No, I think maybe my mistake.
That's okay, no problem. I'm some in the chat here, so I'll also enter the ones from the chat. Okay. Let's have a couple more people write in with their sticky notes. If you don't have access to the sticky notes, go ahead and put it in the chat. No big deal. Or if you want to speak, you can unmute yourself and let us know what you think. Okay, so everyone seems to like the topic of innovation. So let's look at some of these. Innovation is an environment that supports creative thinking, 100%. Thinking outside of the box, figuring out new ways to do things. Innovation is creative and novel ideas. Absolutely. Students as researchers, absolutely. Students coming up with their own projects and their own, studies and way to approach problems. What does this one say? New features, benefits provided that make us better and different than other institutions. Absolutely. So the idea of innovation is that students come here because we offer something they can't get elsewhere. And that sets us apart, which is what we want. Let's read this one down here. Bringing the community a supportive, engaging, and professional environment where they can learn and succeed in their academic career. Absolutely. And that's kind of in between innovation and excellence, which is exactly what it is. It's a combination of both of those things that allow faculty to develop new things, new ideas, and to bring students novel curriculum. Great. What's this one down here? Implementing new methodologies. Yeah, just because something has been done one way in the past doesn't mean we have to stick to that. That's innovation. Excellence, offering the best quality and offering the best service. Absolutely. So all of the, for those of us who are instructors, reviewing our courses, reviewing programs helps us to ensure that we have excellent academics and excellent programming and excellent service to students. Knowledge accumulation, let's see, what does this say? Accumulation of information, right? All the things that our students are learning, basically. So that looks really good. Thank you, everyone who participated. I think we have a couple more in the chat. Let me see. Excellence means superior quality. I think that pretty much sums it up, right? Superior quality in the service we offer, superior quality in the courses we teach. Yes, and then being prepared with information, right? Knowledge is also about having knowledgeable people on our staff and knowledgeable people on our faculty that can transmit that knowledge to their students and encourage them to learn. Let's see, in the chat, we also have knowledge is the integration of current information and development of new information. I love it. And that's important. The development of new information is also key. We have to keep evolving and keep learning. And then knowledge, co-publishing findings with other institutions. Oh, that's a great one. Think about it for you faculty. Every time you engage in any kind of research, publishing, professional development, that contributes to the knowledge base. And that's what we're looking at. And the last one here, knowledge is also lifelong learning, which is absolutely correct. Thank you very much, everyone, for your thoughts on that. So let's go. So here's another slide defining the foundations. And again, we took the definitions that come directly from the document. So we have innovation defined as offering students modern technology, as well as a new framework for learning, a different way to see curriculum. Excellence is bringing students education in a format and method that is realistic and feasible for them to digest. It also aims to provide students with an experience of excellence in academia, right? We don't just want to offer another program that every other college is offering. We want to make sure that something sets it apart. And that thing should be excellence. And then lastly, the knowledge to transform Latino lives through the acquisition and expansion of knowledge. Okay, next slide. Again, which foundation is it? Same as before. We'll just do this really quickly, maybe only one of the foundations. Let's consider the foundation of innovation.
Innovation, right? That's a good one.
Yeah. Which of these do you correlate with innovation? You can either drag your icon, you can write it in the chat. Looking for things that we equate with innovation. Drag if you can, and if not, go ahead and put it in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Do we have any answers here? Eight-week accelerated model. That was innovative, right? Because it for our particular population.
Yeah.
Ooh, there we have another one dragging. Good. Yeah. Remote modalities, different types of, exactly. We have that echoed in the chat here. Variety of modalities is innovative, so our students can find multiple ways to participate. And then also regular curriculum review and modernization. Absolutely, that's innovative. Stackable certificates, yes, also innovative. Not everyone is offering that. So that's one of the ways that we differentiate ourselves from the competition. All right, I don't want to belabor this since we're almost running out of time, but I hope this gives you a better understanding of the three foundations and the different applications of those foundations. Let's go on to, here is something for you to reflect on. How do you today incorporate the pillars and foundations into your work? So how are you making this part of your life in your daily work? Everyone has the option to write in an answer, and I hope that this will work for everyone. You can just enter a quick phrase or sentence into the dialog box that pops up, and then I will show the responses in a minute. So let's just take 10-15 seconds to reflect on it, and please enter your answers, and we'll review everyone's answers. Again, this is anonymous, so you don't have to worry. What are you doing right now that helps to support the three pillars or the foundations? All right, I'm going to start showing some of our responses here. Learning, okay. As you type in your answer, it will appear here on the screen. Okay, so I will read from the chat. We have a very good example about how do you support the pillars and the foundations. And Danae writes, I work really closely with students in the classroom to improve their writing as they develop their assignments by having students submit papers in a scaffolded way and helping them improve prior to submissions of final documents. Absolutely. So I think that is probably high touch, right? Because we're helping students periodically along their path as they are completing drafts and gearing up to a final product at the end. So that constant feedback throughout the writing process is definitely high touch. That's a very good example. You know, there are models where students just hand in a final paper and boom, that's it. But in this model, we're working up to that and the student is getting a lot of feedback, which is definitely high touch. Okay, so let's see. Offering support hours for students. So that one would be what, high touch, probably high support as well. Allowing students the freedom to learn new ways to present assignments in a virtual setting. Ooh, yes, that is excellent. Giving students the autonomy sometimes to choose how they want to present their knowledge. So maybe they're doing a presentation, maybe they're creating a video project, maybe they're doing a poster presentation. Those are all really good ways to kind of individualize the experience. Oh, here's another one. Actively learning from each department to understand what we need to modify, change, or add to facilitate any student process. Awesome. I love the idea about learning from each department, right? We need to make sure that we're not working in silos, and especially for those who are teaching or involved directly with students. It's great to learn from your colleagues about the strategies they're using that are successful. So learning from each other that's high touch and high support, both of them. Very good answers. Okay, wonderful. Thank you for those who contributed. Those are really great ideas. And I think
if Blanca has one in the chat.
Okay, let's see it. Oh, getting more. Oh, there are more that I didn't see. I'm sorry. Getting more familiar with new technology. Yes, every time you learn something new that you can use in the classroom, that's contributing to the high tech pillar.
Yeah, and that's contributed to the Innovation Foundation.
Exactly, innovation, right. Blanca, thank you. Providing our students great services in a timely manner and to their benefit. Absolutely, timely, that's high touch, that's high support, that's excellence. That's a lot of different things right there. So thank you. That spans a couple different categories. Thank you, Blanca. Thank you all for your contributions. These are great. So I think we get the idea that even right now, without having read the document about the model, we are all doing something that contributes to this new model. So let's go on. Now we already know the things that we have been doing, but challenge yourself to think about one thing that you can do either in the short term or in the long term that will integrate the pillars or the foundations. So I don't know, if I'm an instructor, I can say, maybe, next term, I can take the time to learn one more technology app or something that I can incorporate into my instruction. And that will contribute to the Latino Education Model. Think about one thing that you can do. It doesn't need to be a quick fix. It can be a long-term thing as well. For example, I would really like to work together with my colleagues on developing a new course. And I have an idea for how that would work. That's a long-term goal that supports our innovation and academic excellence. If you want to put your answers in the chat, by all means, go ahead. Danae says, include more of these types of tools like Jamboard. Absolutely. On Wednesday, I'm going to plug my session here. On Wednesday, I'm going to be showing everyone how to do Kahoot. Kahoot is a really fun, interactive, game-based tool, and you can use it as a comprehension check. You can do it as exit summary after a lesson. You can use it as a game. So if anyone's interested, Wednesday, I'll be sending out the registration link shortly. Anyone else besides using more interactive type activities? Don't be afraid to speak. You can also speak up if you want to just talk. I'm going to show our responses here. Oh, someone mentioned Kahoot already in our responses. Wonderful. So if you're interested in learning about Kahoot, Wednesday, come with the questions that you'd like to turn into a Kahoot, and you'll walk away with a product that you can use right away.
Yeah, and I'd like to add to that, to that question. Probably when Jennifer and myself, we were planning this session for this final question, when we say, one thing, what happened is that the Latino educational model is going to be, or is being actually since last year, the everyday things that we do in the classroom, in the institution, by providing services, by teaching in the class, in the virtual classrooms. So everything that we're doing now is related to the Latino educational model, unintentionally or intentionally, but we are part now. So when we do, the evaluation, a complete evaluation kit, the course and instructor evaluation, that's part of the Latino educational model. When we incorporate Kahoot, Jamboard, that's part of the educational, the Latino educational model. So it's I don't think that there is one behavior, action, strategy, methodology, even in our conversation with our colleagues. And if we're talking about the academia, so we are part of the Latino educational model. We are already in it, and that's really what. So so we can't really say, well, I go to San Augustine College and the Latino educational model is is somewhere because I'm not part of that. No, we are already in.
Just by participating in these conversations with your colleagues, you are promoting innovation and excellence.
Right.
Absolutely. Great. All right. So we don't have to do this right now, but this is a challenge to everyone. Think about one of the goals that you defined, something that you can do in the short or long term, and really think about it. Make a plan for how you're actually going to implement this. So let's say you're looking to incorporate more technology in the classroom. And some time for yourself where you can sit down and devote time to looking at all the different options available to you, where you can, take the time to learn how they work, how to set them up. Many of these things do take some time on the front end, but they're worth it. And they will engage your students, a lot more in the classroom. So this is just a challenge to you to really think about how you can realistically implement these goals that you have. It's great to have goals, but we have to make, realistic plans to implement them if we want to see change. So we have about 6 minutes left. Does anyone have a goal that they want to share? Maybe just one person or two people. If you have any goals, either short-term or long-term, that you would like to implement in your work, it can be instructional, non-instructional. It takes some time to think about. No pressure if you can't think of anything right now, but you know, something to consider, keep in the back of your mind. Improvement is a process, so even if it hits you tomorrow or the week after, that's great. All right, and then the final point. Anna, do you want to talk about the mission?
Yeah, you know, a month ago, Dr. Gonzalez asked a group of create a committee, you know, just to revise the mission statement of the institution, and then align the mission statement with the Latino Educational Model. So we've been working on that. This is a preliminary mission statement that is going to go now into focus groups. We're going to have the first faculty focus group to work with this preliminary mission statement, and we're going to have a staff group, a focus group, and a student. So after we collect data from those three focus groups, based on this, what you're seeing right now, you know, we're going to have to take that, all the input, creating the final one, and taking that to the, you know, to the proper levels of approval, to the point that has to go to the board of trustees. So, but what we would like you to see is that this preliminary mission statement has the three foundations. Has excellence by providing academic excellence, advancement of knowledge is there, and culturally sensitive and intensive innovations to equip. You see, so, you know, we are using the words from the Latino Educational Model for this, for the mission statement. One of the things that we need to, that is present in this mission statement is we have two sentences coming from the old mission or the current mission statement. It's not all, it's the current mission statement. And then we're incorporating, you know, new statements or new sentences that bring together the Latino Educational Model into the mission. So you will see this more. Everybody's going to be invited to provide their feedback, you know, before we come with a very, very final mission statement for approval by the Board of Trustees. But what we would like to see here, you know, for you to see here is that, you know, we use the bilingual environment. That is part of the high touch. We use the ethnic identity. That's part of the high touch. We use the cultural interaction. That's part of the high touch. And then we have, you know, equitable social changes in society by doing what? Academic excellence, innovations, which is the high tech and advancement knowledge. And we're empowering them, which is, you know, the high support. So that's really basically what I have to say about this. So faculty will be able to provide their feedback and output, and then staff will do exactly the same thing, and students will be able to do that as well.
Great, thank you. That wraps up what we have planned for today. We'd like to open up the floor. If anyone has any comments, feedback, questions, we welcome you to do that at this time. You keep in mind, you can either put your comments or feedback in the chat, or you can just turn your microphone on and address the group. If anyone has any comments, we'd love to hear. Okay. All right. Well, if there are no comments or feedback, we'd like to thank everyone for attending today, and we hope you walk away with a greater understanding of how we can live the Latino education model in our work every day. Thank you so much for attending, and we wish you a great afternoon. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.